We're underground. Always fascinates me, you know, you've got engineers, you know, very clever people out there that can set two teams up from two different countries to dig a hole and meet in the middle and build a tunnel and run a train through it. Yet you drive down the motorway and you can't hold a bloody conversation on the phone. Crazy, isn't it? Bit of a boring fact really, but there you go. Hello and welcome back to my CineVlog. Now, it's been a little while since I last done one of these, and I'm currently, as you can probably tell, sitting in the van, but I am sitting in my van, which is inside a train. I am, in fact, on the Channel Tunnel because I'm heading over the water, under the water actually. I'm going to Belgium. I'm going to CarpArena, which is obviously a complex that I've heard a little bit about in the past. Never actually been over there and fished it myself. Watched plenty of videos on it. Sort of know what to expect, but it's always different, isn't it, when you get to a venue for your own personal self and you experience it for the first time. It is boat fishing. I'm going on Rosemere. The boat fishing side of it excites me. You know, it's something that I don't do a lot of. It's not a massive lake, which means I'm not going to have to battle with the elements when it comes to using a boat. So it's almost like a beginner's or an entry-level lake to use in a boat, which I quite like that. I've got a week there on my own. I can get in and out of the boat as much times as I want. Practice, you know, there is a massive skill to using a boat, and coming to a place like this will hopefully help me hone that skill a little bit more. But not only that, there's loads of carp in there. Well, I say loads of carp, there's a good head of carp in there to over 50 pounds, which obviously that would be the dream, to try and catch the biggest one in the lake, as it always is, I suppose, wherever we go. But I've only got a week to do so. It sounds a long time, but it's what's it now? End of March now. So I go out at the end of March and I come back at the beginning of April, if that makes sense. Daytime temperatures 15, 17 degrees, but nighttime's still going to be quite cold. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, and I'm not sitting here expecting to go there and absolutely catch tons of fish, but I'm going to go there, familiarise myself with a boat, and just enjoy myself, like I always do with my fishing. And I'm going to take you guys and girls along with me. So yeah, if you're interested in fishing CarpArena, or if you're interested in fishing a boat for the first time, or if you're just interested in me and you like me and you support me and you love me, then that's even better. Thank you very much. But I'm going to take you along, show you everything that I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to be approaching the venue, a bit about the boat, how to set the boat up, loads of bits and pieces. This is going to be a real in-depth vlog, and I'm very, very much looking forward to getting off of this train that's just about to pull away and making the short 1 hour journey the other side when I get into Calais to CarpArena. Let's do this. Well, after a little pit stop to get some essentials, we have just made it to CarpArena. Now that drive, all right, I've been to the shops, is 1 minute over an hour and 1 minute from Calais. So easy to get to. Literally come off of the train, flew along the A roads, whatever they are, A26, A whatever it is, you've got to get on, and we are here at CarpArena, and that is the sign that you'll be greeted with. A nice low-key sign. I've just been for a little drive around a local area, been to the shops. Really nice area. Shops nice and close by. I can see a little bit of water down to my right. I think that may be a lake called Clover Lake, I'm not too sure. We're just going to get in there and we're going to have a little look, shall we? But here we are, CarpArena. Let's do this. Right, well, I've just driven up to the car park and I caught my first glimpse of Rosemere, and what a, wow, it's mega. Have a look at this. I'm going to take you around the little, I'm just going to give you a little tour first, really. Watch this, I'm going to spin you around. Right, so this area here is like the communal seating area. You've got maps of the lakes on here. I'm assuming obviously when everybody's here, they do the swim draws. They got the maps of all the lakes where they're going to write you down where you are. Excuse me. That's my type of fridge. Oh, plenty of refreshments. Got a little washing up bowl here. What else have we got? We've got fridges. We've got freezers for your bait. This is obviously one of the questions a lot of people ask when they're taking bait abroad. Is there anywhere to keep your bait frozen? So if you bring a load of bait out here and you end up not using it, you can store your bait in here and take it home fresh. Got a barbecue, got a dartboard. Now, apparently, according to a certain Mr. Rossiter, I have the figure of a darts player. So I'm sure I'll be stepping up to the Ocky and having a couple of games this week. Let's go back out here. So this is Rosemere. This lake here, look how beautiful this is. Look at this. Just spoke to Matthias, the bailiff, and he ensures me that it's done a few bites during the last week, and the weather is only getting warmer, and this sun that's up there in the sky, obviously because that's where the sun is beating all along this left-hand margin. So that's going to be a main focal point. It is an area that I've been told does bites as well. The water is tap clear, so I would assume that once I'm out in that boat ghosting around, probably going to see a few carp. But it's a little, I say a little walk, about 50 metres to my swim. I'm going to get everything set up and I'll take you out in a boat with me and we'll have a little scout around. Oh, I'm so excited. What a place though, what a place this is. Absolutely beautiful. And I mean, there's not many leaves on the trees yet, but this is simply stunning. Oh, one quick little thing. We put a little bit of pace into the old, into the step. There's all showers and toilets down there as well. It really has got absolutely everything in it, this place. And I've only just driven through the gate and I'm already in love with it. We are set up in pegs 3 and 4. Just putting a wedgie out there. Set up in pegs 3 and 4, which is right in the middle of the lake. Looks right up the centre of it. Now the lake itself is it's probably more of a rectangle than a square. Two left-hand margins, or the left and the right margin as you look from here, both non-fishing margins. And oh, look at that bit of sun on the old face. I've already seen carp patrolling up and down the left-hand one, which is taking the full brunt of this real early autumn sun. So that's definitely going to be somewhere that I'm going to focus on right from the get-go. And then also, I don't know how well you can see it, but this margin over this sort of direction, even though it's off the back of the sun, I've got a feeling that if it's going to do me any bites, maybe that might be doing me the bigger fish. So I'm just going to get the boat all rigged up now. I'm just going to run you through the peg and how I've set it up and just explain why I've done certain things. So I'm going to spin you lovely people around now. Right, here we go. So down to the rods first. Got my 10-foot 4-pound test curve greens. So when I said I've only ever had one set of rods off a cord, I've actually had 3 now. The one that I've just given away in my latest vlog, a set of 12/6 greens and a set of 10-foot greens. And these are fished. I've converted my singles system by adding an extra extension and a spike to make these into single sticks. And the reason for that is I'm fishing up to snags and I want them individually placed. So if I get a bite in the night, I'm not going to worry about coming into contact with any of my other lines. We've just added an additional weight there on the bobbin. Now, the way in which I set these up, we've got 2 here to the left of the swim, and we've got 1 here to the right of the swim. Just quickly, all nets, mats and slings are provided, so you don't even have to bring those out with you. All you've got to do is bring out what I brought out there, which that's Dad's battery that he's got in that waterproof case. A life jacket is a must, and a motor for the boat. Boats are supplied with oars. Obviously, if you don't want to use a motor, you don't have to. You can use the oars, but with the motor, it makes life easier. I'm crapping a boat. I'm hoping I don't fall out of the boat, but I've got a life jacket on in case I do. So yeah, this is the rod situation, is what I was saying. So where these are aiming is not directly to where I'm fishing. Now the reason for that is because I'm going to be fishing locked up, and obviously I'm going to move that boat. And when I get a bite, I want the rod to almost act as a bit of a quiver tip. I mean, obviously it's not going to bend around as much as a quiver tip would do, but if it's aimed directly at it, I just don't feel as confident when I'm picking that rod up. And it seems mad to say that, but with the little bit of bend you've got in the rod, it almost acts as a bit of a self-hooking device. So as they're pulling against the rod, you've got that sort of resistance of the rod trying to pull back, like a bit of a bungee cord, and it just means I can fish super locked up without the fear of my rod being pulled in a millisecond. And I've also got there, the butt rings are locked in behind the buzzers, so they can't go anywhere. And mainline wise, I've got 20 pound, my big fat head, look at a big shadow in it, 20 pound sub braid with a 20 pound IQ2 fluorocarbon leader, and that's just fish naked style. And then we'll get onto rigs a little bit later throughout the video. But here we go, we're here, CarpArena, doing it. Got the house all set up nice and neat, open fronted, got an aquascope there. I mean, I can't see me using it, but I'm going to take it out in the boat just so I look a little bit more professional. Here's the swim itself, nice big open swim, so if you're coming with your friend and you want to double up in here, really big swim. I'm led to believe that 3 and 4 are very good areas on the lake, but looking at the shape of it, to be honest with you, you all pretty much can fish and share similar water. Let's look at that, beautiful. The sun's out, it's about 15 degrees. What more could you want? Oh, excuse him, was him. Had a little scoot about in the boat, seen a few fish, which is a good sign. Now I'm deploying 2 different types of rigs. Now this one here, I don't know where you're going to see that, you see it a bit better there if it's hung up. Got the old hinge stiff rigs on. Now this is what the guy was catching on last week, and on further inspection when I've been having a little look around along that margin, there's quite a lot of leaf debris on the bottom, so you can see why that would work so well. These are just the pre-tied chod sections that Corda do. All I've done is just looped a, well I say looped, I've tied a figure of 8 loop knot, boom, out of IQ2. Give you a better look at these tomorrow, I just want to get these rods out. And then I've just got a spinner rig on this one with a bog standard 14mm Manila pop-up on, because over on the right hand margin over there, it's just getting the brunt of this afternoon sun. I have seen a couple of fish over there, but it is a lot clearer. So I'm going to drop that down so it'll sit a lot lower, it's a lot clearer, and then the other 2 are going to go out with me, my little, where are they? My little hinges on. And all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put 50 broken baits, because there's quite a lot of coots here and the water is tap clear, and I've just got a real nasty feeling that these coots are going to see everything what's going on. So I'm going to hop in the boat with my first rod. I'm going to get it out there. Day has very much quickly turned into night. It's right on last light now. It's been such a long day driving from Somerset to the Calais to port, getting over here, getting the rods out. I've got 2 rods out on the left and I've got 1 rod out on the right. I dropped them out in likely looking areas, but I was so tired I dropped them out, put a bit of bait over the top. I've only just woke up and that was about 4 hours ago, so I'm just having a coffee and I'm going to do a re-drop. I'm probably going to give another hour or so, just after dark, give an hour after dark, see if there's anything going to venture out of them snags and give them a re-drop, because I was tired, and that's not me making excuses. Just having a few of these little chocolate clusters, got the brew on. But yeah, the rods are out, and I've missed that sort of last part from showing you the rigs to actually dropping them. I was so tired, I just wanted to get them out so the rods are in the water and get my head down. But here we go, we're going in to the first night at CarpArena. We have a rod missing, which means that I have got my first CarpArena carp in the net. And it's mad, you know, because when I dropped this rod out there, I saw a ghostie and I bloody caught the ghostie. It's about half hour till it gets to first light, so I'm going to drop this one in a retainer. We'll have a look at them first light, shall we? How's that? We have broke the CarpArena duck with my first carp. I'm going to get this rod straight back out, because when you're snag fishing, first light is always a very good time. But there we go, our first CarpArena carp. Right, into one. The rod that I've had that bite on this morning, I've not yet got that fish out. I've re-dropped it and it is just absolutely wrapped around. Don't know how much of this you're going to see because you're resting on top of my bivvy, but I'm going to go down there, hopefully I can get this one in. We got him in, a lovely CarpArena rosemere mirror carp. Bigger than the ghostie, maybe near £30 that one. But boy, did that pull that. Fishing over to some snags over on the left hand side here. Where are they? Just to the right of that chimney it is. Oh, focus. Just to the right of that chimney. That like white budded up bush. And I'm fishing with braid locked up, but it's just, you know what it's like with braid, it's all or nothing, isn't it? Just sitting there in bed, chilling. Next thing, rod is absolutely bent double. Give it a little bit of grief. Fishing safe to snags though, like I said, I'm fishing with my rods at a little bit of an angle. Let me just spin you around the dress shoe. Yeah, fishing with my rods at a little bit of an angle. Bloody hell, there's an old mess. So you've got that, like, imagine if your rod's like this and it's dead straight, and as that fish pulls, it's like, it's a dead straight pull, whereas if you've got a bit of an angle, it's a bit of a cushion, so everything's like really locked down tight, but you've got that little bit of bungee. You've got in. 2 carp on the first morning. That'll do for me. Right, I'm going to get this rod back out because it's still early, still bite time, and I think there's more to come. Oh yeah. Well, that fish there has dinked me hook over. Now, I'm an angler that doesn't really use choddies, hinges a lot. I've got no shame in saying it, but I use the ready tied ones. These here are as good, if not better and neater and more consistent in length than any one that I would tie. And I don't fish them enough to have loads of spare ones tied up, or to have loads tied up, and obviously I can tie them up, I know that, but I've got a few packs of these, size 4 choddies on these, £25 mouth trap. They're already tied, all ready to go. That's actually the second fish I've had on that hook as well, but now the hook point's completely burred over, so I'm not going to reuse it. All I'm going to do is whip an IQ2 boom onto that, tied one with a figure of 8 loop, and I'm ready to rock and roll. But yeah, I see a lot of people using ready tied rigs, and a lot of people having comments about, oh, what would you use a ready tied rig for? Well, nothing wrong with ready tied rigs. In fact, fair play to people that purchase them, because it saves you tying them, and if you want to chop and change with your rigs, you can do. And if you don't use these rigs a lot, and you don't want to buy loads of the components to make a certain rig, you can buy some ready ties to see how you get on with them. And I've got absolutely zero shame in using a ready tied rig. These are absolutely bang on. And like I say, they've never let me down. In fact, they're the first time I've ever used these since joining Corda. But yeah, I've never had an issue at all using a ready tied rig. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get this rod back out, because we've got plenty of time to catch another one, but a week does go very quickly, and I want to make the most of my time whilst I'm out here at CarpArena. Well, here we are. This is my first CarpArena carp. Now, when I went out in a boat yesterday, the carp obviously stick out like a sore thumb. It's really clear water, and there was one that I saw down there that was a ghostie. And to be honest with you, ghosties can be hard to catch. And I spoke to a couple of people, and they said they've never seen a ghostie in here. Well, it just so happens that my first bite is a ghostie. And it was weird, because I watched this fish, and it was like circling around an area, almost like it was protecting it from the others. And obviously this morning, he couldn't resist the old yellow pop-up, could he? Hoping he's going to behave. Oh, I need to throw him off my feet, man. I'm going to turn him round. He's got a bit of a bald patch on one side, but I don't know whether they've stocked these or not, or these are fish that have maybe been dropped in here over the years from people that have got ponds or whatever close by. But he's a really cool, proper vibrant colour. Vibrant, look at me with the big words. There he is. My first CarpArena carp. £23 of Belgium ghostie, koi. How cool is he though? Lovely, isn't he? Absolutely immaculate on the old chops as well, look at that. Old Goldie the ghost carp. That'll do to get the ball rolling anyway, wouldn't it? Although I've got another one as well, so the ball's well and truly rolling now. Lovely times. There he is. The second one of the trip so far. £32 and 12 ounces. Proper nice carp, this one. And to think they go over £20 bigger in here, so you never know what that next bite is going to be. Look at that. A real nice, clean rosemere mirror carp. Quick scoot to the other side for you, so you can see what we're dealing with here. There he is. 32.12, Belgium's finest. Lovely. Well, as you can see, I'm having a little walk. So whilst I'm here, Dan's actually fishing over on, I think it's called Orchid Lake, this one. And I've just been round and photographed a couple of mega fish for him, 34, and one over 50 pound. Proper mega common it was. I just wanted to show you a little bit more of the complex whilst I'm here, because I've got Lily, not Lily. Lily might be the lake to my left, actually. I'm going to show you. I'm still familiarising myself. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to spin it around now. I'm going to show you a little pan of this lake. And I'm going to show you a pan of the other lake as well. Let's turn the old camera around. So this is Orchid Lake, which, judging by what I've just seen, has got a mega stock of carp. And then Dan's fishing over there. I'm not going to zoom in on him, invade his privacy, because he's over there chilling. So that's Orchid. And then a short walk through a set of trees here. I believe this one's called Lily, I believe. Just breaking my way through some trees. A couple of guys fishing on here this week. It's an absolutely awesome complex this. I know I keep saying it. For me, one of the biggest things is how close it is to Calais. A couple of guys over there in the double swim. You can use rowing boats. Matey's out there in his rowing boat now with his life jacket on. And if you're pan au chocolat to the right, you can also use bait boats as well. And this lake here, I'm sure this is the one, in fact I know it's the one, this is the one where Burgess and his mate Cav fished for 3 nights and they caught quite a few fish. So there's a lot of fish in this one as well. But just look at that, absolutely stunning. See, I've come for a little mooch. I've still just had those 2. I'm going to go back. I've got a little bit of a game plan leading in to tonight, which I'll talk more about later. Love formulating a little game plan. Yeah, let's get back to the old swim, shall we? Back in the peg. Put 2 rods out for now. And the reason why is I've just done a bit of an excursion around the lake in the boat. And the only place I've seen carp in the snags is up the top there. I didn't see any down to the left where I had a rod last night, and I think what's happened is where the people that have been in here before me have caught a few, I think it might have pushed a few out. And I'm going to leave it quiet for a couple of days and let them get their confidence back in. But what I have done, if we pan au chocolat around over there, see the marker pole? Now, it's a rectangular, square-ish shaped lake, and I want to establish a bit of an area. So what I've done is I've just made up a full 17-litre bucket of pellets and boilies, krill and manila, mixed them together with some 2.3mm bloodworm pellets, and I've just stoved a whole bucket in around that marker. Now I'm not going to fish out there tonight. I'm going to let the fish get some confidence, and it might not do many bites, but it might do me bigger fish. But I'm confident nicking a few more out the snags for sure. But certainly when you come to France, Belgium, wherever you're going for a week, it's always good to have your options open and not to sort of overdo your options straight away. So yeah, I've got a bit of bait sat around that one there. I've got my 2 rods back out, and you can hear sizzling down here. Where are we? We've got a nice bit of seasoned beef with mushrooms, peppers, tomatoes. So I'm going to put a bit of rocket salad inside some wraps. Still trying to eat healthy, or healthier, and that is going to be a nice little lunch. Well, here we go again. You are a bit on the wonk there, because I am resting you on top of my bivvy. But we are in to another CarpArena carp. I've not had the rods out long today. I've been for a little walk around, spoke to some of the other guys that are on the complex, and got them out about 2 or 3 hours ago. And this was fished up right up the back of the snags. Bobbins just whacked the top, fishing locked up. Nice gentle walk back with the rod, and we're in. So I'm going to stand down here so you're in full view, and hopefully we can get another carp in. a good one, that is. That is a good one. Get my old shoes on. But that is a good fish. Get my old shoes on. Turn you around. Swims are lovely and clean here as well, which is quite nice. So it means if you get a bite, you don't have to worry about getting your shoes on. We'll zoom in. Here we go. Let's have a look. There he is, down here. Don't know how big he is. Bit of a gutty one. Very noticeable fish, one big scale on its side. Look at that. Right, we're losing the old light, so I'm going to get him out. I need a poo. Let's have a look at him. We'll get him back. Get the rod back out. Come on. Had a little celebrator on the way out there, yeah? Well, he's the biggest one of the trip so far. Very recognisable, one big scale in the middle, as I'm just about to show you. Proper deep-bodied fish. There we go. Make sure I'm in the old frame. Proper active fish. Come on, calm yourself down, mate. There we go. The lovely CarpArena 34-pounder. Oh, just as the old sun's starting to go down. The good thing with the boat is you can use them at night as well. And obviously it makes getting the rods out easy. So normally I'd be rushing to get this back, but it's nice to appreciate it. There we go. A big old solid 34-pounder from Rosemere. Loveliest of times, eh? What more do you want? Beautiful place, close to Calais. If you want, you can have all your mates close by. Very easy fishing in the sense of using a boat. You can use a bait boat. You're left alone. What more do you want, eh? Carp fishing's great, isn't it? Well, I'm both happy and annoyed at the same time because I just bloody lost one. Got it away from the snags, playing it in, come out into the middle of the lake. A few like proper vigorous shakes of the old head, vigorous big word. A few vigorous shakes of the old head, and he would come out. But anyway, if I could have fished against those snags all week and not lost a single fish, it would have been a miracle. But I'd rather lose one to a hook pull than lose one because the fish has gone in a snag. But this is that one that I had a little bit earlier on. Weighed him up, 23 of your finest English pounds he went. It's got a real cool, unique scale pattern on him. It's nice to show you as many fish as I possibly can as well. Yeah, really pretty fish this one, another dumpy one. Yeah, it's got a lovely like right the way across its body. I'll show you. Oh, I'm getting a bit closer. Look, I can address you properly then. Look how lively they are. They're warm as well now. Just getting there, aren't they, now with the old spring and that. It's too old to do them, my son. There we go. How cool is he? Another Rosemere mirror carp, 23-pounder. When I've just gone and dropped that rod back out there after that lost fish, I did see a couple of better fish out there as well, so you just never know what that next bite's going to be. We're ticking away nicely. It's mid-afternoon now. Nothing's happened since that one that I lost. It's gone really warm. Had a big flock, group of seagulls come down on the lake for a good few hours picking bits and pieces off the surface. I always find if I've lost a fish or my head's not gone, but you need a bit of a reset. I brought the rods in, I've gone around the lake in a boat, found a few fish in some snags. I've replaced, or placed should I say, a couple of rods in some different areas, gone down the shop, come back, just got them out bang on, and I'm having myself a little bit of, I say lunch, it's about 4 or 5 o'clock out here now. Yeah, sometimes just getting away for a couple of hours can just sort of reset you. And even though I'm only 2 nights in, effectively only a night in from when I first caught my first fish yesterday morning, it's nice just to get away for a couple of hours. So yeah, I got me, well, I'm going to show you, because if you come abroad, France, wherever, and you have one of these, you haven't really lived. Check this bad boy out. Oh, there's the old swim. The old tender crocks, is that what they're called? Tender crock. Cheese and ham toasty, ready to rock and roll. Straight in the old frying pan, already buttered up. That is going to do for me. I'm going to have 2 a day for lunch, I think. Yeah, here's the rods, so I've just moved them around a little bit. Got my left hand rod, is now going over towards snag over there. My middle rod's the one that's been doing the bites up in that back corner there. And then my right hand rod, when I ghosted around in a boat, I see a couple of really good fish right up in that top corner, which does get the full brunt of the evening sun. So I've dropped a rod up there as well. So they're out there now until something happens, unless I start seeing loads show in this middle, and I am tempted to put a zig out there because there's a lot of water out there that's left sort of untapped, if you like. And one thing that I would say is that for the amount of fish that are in here, I'm certainly not seeing that many around the snags. Excuse me, so they've got to be sitting somewhere. And you never know how many times you do it back at home. Chuck a single zig out and it goes. But with 5 fish to the good, 1 lost, a couple of 30s, there's no complaints here. Well, if this ain't first signs of spring, then I don't know what is. Look at that. They have literally hatched last night. How cool is that? Look, safety in numbers. Spring is officially here. Quite a few there as well, to be fair. Look how steady my panning is. Oh yeah, right on cue. Exactly the same time as I had a bite yesterday. Just had another one, and it looks like this is the biggest one of the trip so far. It's down there in the net. Yes, come on. So I said, sometimes getting away from the lake, going down the shops, having a reset, redoing the rods, it just works. I was laying in bed, quite a cold northerly wind blowing in my face. Laying in bed, old rod's pulled up. I'm going to talk more about my rod setup tomorrow. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I am going to do it. Tip's pulled round slightly, picked it up, not rushing too much. Nice gentle pull back, coaxed it away from the snags and all the way in, a real wallowing fight all the way in. Wallowing, look at me, I was tubby earn, ain't I? Yes, this is a good one. I don't know how big it is. They always look bigger in the clear water, but it's a decent fish. I'm going to spin you around and I'm going to show you it. Where are we? It's down in here. There he is. Definitely the biggest one of the trip so far. Look at that. Right, I'm going to get him out, have a look at him. Ha ha, in this evening sunlight. Labash. Right, we'll check this bad boy out. The bailiff's just come around and done a few pictures, which is why he's a little bit further away. How about that for a rosemere banger? Over £40 of rosemere mirror carp. And we're only on the 2nd day. Plenty more to come, hopefully. Look at the size of that thing. Proper mirror carp. In fact, it's my biggest ever carp from Belgium. So it's a Belgian PB. Lovely. Right, let's treat it all up. Get him back. Another morning. Another CarpArena carp is in the net. It's actually the second one that I've had. I had another one in the middle of the night. Again, only a small one. That one in there is probably similar size to the one that I put back last night. Dropped really cold last night, down to 3 degrees, but it was the final night of it being really cold. But again, this rod here, fished up to those snags at the back, is the one that's doing a doing. You can see straight away that sun's up. Well, let me get you straight. That sun's up and it's beating on that margin. Them fish use that as like a highway, and obviously the sun rises in the same place every day, so they just hone in on that far margin. And I'm hoping today, now it's starting to warm up, that we're going to get, I say consistent bites. I've now had 8 fish. I'm hoping that with a little bit of sun on their back, a lot warmer sun on their back, it's going to rev them right up. There we go. Let's have a look at him. Right, well here he is then. Another CarpArena carp. A real dumpy 24-pounder, glistening away in the old morning sun. Lovely times. Well, a little evening update. It's been quite quiet today. This wind has really picked up coming from the east, and even though it's sort of 18, 19 in the sun, in the wind it's not very nice at all. Now, the margin that takes the full brunt of the sun has also got a freezing cold easterly blown onto it, but I have just been over to the far side, or should I say the side of the lake that doesn't get the sun till the afternoon, evening. It's now flat calm, and for the first time since I've been, I've actually seen carp along there. So I've got a rod over there tonight, but I thought now is a good opportunity to talk about rods and positioning. So I'm going to tell you why I've done what I've done. So here we go. These are my left and two rods, and I've got one rod on the right. Now, first and foremost, I've set these up on the single. So I've got my stainless steel ground spike, I've got my upright that's the adjustable, and I've got an extension piece in the middle. Now, the ground out here, for those of you that are coming or plan to come, is clay underneath this sort of type 1 stone crush, and it means you can get a real solid purchase on your rear rest. The back end of the greens have got like a tapered bulbous end which lock in behind those butt grips there, and I'm fishing these on singles. And the reason why I'm fishing them on singles, because if you've got them on a pod and you fish, I mean, you're not allowed to fish directly into the obstacles and the snags, but I'm fishing sort of 6 to 8 foot off of them, but I don't want them going anywhere near them. So I've got everything locked down, fishing nice and safe, nice and effective, and I'm fishing with sub braid. It's worth noting I've got 20 pound sub braid on there, as well as 10 feet of IQ2 in 20 pound with a couple of blobs of putty, just to keep everything pinned down, because I'm fishing with bowstring tight lines. But the way in which I've set these up, so you can see there, the rods are aiming directly in front of the swim. If I was fishing 3 on a spot, that's where I'd be aiming them, directly to where I'm fishing. But because I'm fishing so locked up, because I don't want the fish to make their way into the trees, and also it's worth noting as well, I don't want them kiting left and going along the tree line and running the risk of them getting into the trees, if that makes sense. Oh, I've set them up, and you may be able to see here, I'm not sure how well you can see. So when the line comes off the end of the rod, if I hold that there, you can see it's coming off at a slight angle. And basically what that allows is when you're fishing drum tight lines and no clutch, when you get a bite, you've got, say, from there to there as movement. So the rod tip is almost acting like a bit of a bungee, so it just gives me enough time to get out of bed if I'm in bed, or to get on the rod, but it's almost a self-hooking. If I was to aim that rod directly straight at it and fish with a tight line, I run the risk of either something blowing up and not potentially parting because the force of the bite, or ripping the hook straight out of the fish's mouth. So by fishing it almost quiver tip style, there's enough movement in that tip to set the hook and stop everything from falling apart, but at the same time there's not enough movement in that tip to stop the carp going into the, or to allow the carp to go into the snag, sorry. So far, up until now, I've hooked 9 fish, landed 8 of them, and the one that I lost, like I say, was a hook pull, which there's nothing you can do about that anyway. If it wasn't a rule and you could fish really tight into what snags are here, I may have had more bites. And I see this with so many people on so many lakes that I go to. Let me just address you all. Yeah, I see, oh, a bit close, I'm now get snagged on my glasses. Yeah, I see this with so many lakes that I go to, people fishing tight up to snags, boasting about how many fish they've hooked. You know, I've hooked 10 fish, mate, but I've only landed 3. I'd rather speak to an angler that says I've hooked 5 fish, mate, landed all 5, but I've chosen not to fish right tight close to the snags, because fishing up to snags how I'm fishing them, if I was fishing them nice and tight, it doesn't matter who you are, there's always going to be a problem occurring. By fishing away from the snags, setting your rods up how I've set them up, so you've got just enough purchase on that tip there to act as a bit of a bungee, to not only to set the hook, but to also stop everything from blowing apart, is just a safe and effective way of fishing up against snags. And yeah, like I say, I'm going to sit back in my bivvy because it's bloody freezing out here. Like I say, I have now hooked 9, landed 8. The 40 pounder, nice and easy, you know, dogged fight, come straight away from the snags. But when you're hooking these bionic 20 pounders, they're taking off at a rate of knots, you know, and I'll be sitting here now just chilling doing this, and then all of a sudden you'll just get like, see what you'll notice as well is I've got a heavy weight on the bobbin, so I've got an additional weight, and that pulls the line down just enough, so if I get one beep, it sort of alerts me, if you know what I mean. So as it pulls up, that's the one beep that I'm looking for, and then I know then that I've got a bite, and then you just see the tip bend round, so get to the rod obviously as quick as what you possibly can do, lift it, and then, you know, don't panic. A lot of people, when they get a fish, when they're fishing near snags, they're quickly panicking, you know, they're running forward, running backwards. The minute you go forwards, or you make any sort of movement forward with that rod, you've got to imagine that the carp is swimming away from you. So any movement that you make forwards allows that carp to take a little bit of line. As soon as you've got the rod in your hand, remember where you're standing and start bringing it back straight away. If you make any movement forward, if the fish is trying to take a bit of line and you let it take too much, it's going to go inside the snag. So like I say, I'll show you tomorrow. I'll go out in the boat and I'll show you exactly where I'm dropping. But I reckon I'm fishing 6 to 8 feet off of the front of the snag. Probably around 110 yards out is how far I'm fishing out. So with braid, obviously IQ2, you've got a tiny little bit of stretch in the IQ2, not a lot though. But the way in which I'm setting the rods up means that I'm almost quiver tipping round. So when you do get a bite, tip pulls round, the bobbins are coming off because the up beep, if you like, is so aggressive. The weight of the bobbin is just pulling it through the braid on the clip and it's coming off. But once that's done that, the rod's sort of pulling around and you're sort of getting this, and it's, you know, it's giving it the old big 'un from Wigan. And yeah, they're on there. And like I say, one fish lost to a hook pull, which, to be honest with you, fishing how I'm fishing, you can almost expect to lose at least one to a hook pull, or maybe two to a hook pull. If I was fishing in the open water, I'd have probably been racking my brains a little bit more. But so that's how I've set the rods up. So I've got my singles as single sticks. I'm pushing them in the clay so they can't move anywhere, and I've also got the butt ring behind the buzzer as well, just to stop any of that rod going forward. Because if you didn't do any of that and you set them up how you normally would and you was fishing locked up with braid, you wouldn't get to the rod quick enough, your rod would be in the lake. And we don't want that happening, do we? So, excusez-moi. Not that I'm in France, but I'll try to do a little bit of French there. So there you go. So that's the rod set up. They're all out there for the evening now. Tonight is actually going to stay into double figures, which I'm hoping with the shallower water around the edges, they're sort of staying it overnight. I have had 2 bites in the hours of darkness, but most of them have sort of been sort of from now for the next couple of hours, and also in the morning as well. So I'm going to sit here, make myself a coffee, have a little look out across the lake. But yeah, bearing in mind it's my first time I've ever been here. So far, 9 bites, landed 8, and I've still got 4 nights left to go. And a 40-pounder. Job's a good one. Right, well, it's been a bit quiet. So I didn't have anything yesterday evening, which was my usual bite time. The air pressure rose quite a lot yesterday, and it has the same effect as what it does in England, you know, higher air pressure in spring. I mean, they were moving around all over the place, but that's the problem, it's trying to pinpoint them down. But true to form, the old first light bite, and another Rosemere 25-pounder. Lively 25-pounder. Come on. Don't know if it's got anything left in him, I've just had a good scrap. There we go. Another Rosemere carp. Lovely. Just having a little scoot about in the boat. Looking for a few more likely spots. It's proper slowed down, so I'm sort of gone on the hunt for them at the minute. Just trying to find them. The water's quite murky, but you can see you can see the odd black shape moving around if you're lucky enough to get right over the top of them. The bailiff sat with me rods whilst I'm having a little scoot about. Yeah, just having a little look under all these likely little places. There was a lot more snags in here when they took the lake over, and I think obviously the fish are still used to being in the edges. So anywhere you've got like a tiny little bit of debris like this, there is still the odd fish around, and it's a holding spot. So I'm just having a little mooch around, real slow creep on the motor. The ones I have seen from the boat are not really that bothered by it, so I'm not overly bothered by sort of going over the top of them, so to speak, if I do find them. But this corner that I'm coming up to now is in the lee of the wind, so it's the warmest part of the lake. certainly for me anyway, so that's going to be for the carp. I'm just taking a nice leisurely stroll on speed 2, just having a little potter about, just seeing if we can see any. So when you're here on your own, it's a big lake, you know, 8-9 acres is a lot of water to cover for the one person. Just having a little creep around, so yeah, little mooches, see if we can see anything. It's been another very slow day on the rods. This wind, even though it's quite warm when you're sat in the shade, when you're not sat in the shade, when you're sat in the sun off the back of the wind, it's really warm, but this wind has got a real cutting edge to it, you know, it's ripping across the lake. And I've been looking today, you know, I mean, I've had 9 fish and lost one. I'm not complaining at all, but you know, like when you feel like you should be just getting a bit more out of the peg. But it's just calmed off now, the wind, and I'm going to redo 2 of the rods. 2 of the rods are bang on up against sort of an area where I've had the bites from already, so I'm not too worried about redoing those. But I have just seen a carp show, and to be honest, of all the places it showed, it was the last place I expected to see one, and it was down to my left where the wind's been absolutely beating into. I haven't had a rod down there since I've got here, and I almost wonder if the fish have maybe gone there. And my theory is that as the wind's pushing this way, if you like, I'm trying to do it looking at the camera, so I'm addressing all you, pushing this way, the warm top water's almost rolling around on the bottom bank, which therefore means that the sort of warmer water's circulating down there, almost a bit like a washing machine effect. That's how I feel anyway. So I'm going to go along there with a boat in a minute. Have a coffee first. Everything's always better in it after a coffee. Go down there in a minute, just have a little donk around and maybe try and find a bit of a harder spot on the clay, just somewhere to drop a little handful of bait and lower a rig down, just to maybe try and get another bite, you know. I've had 9 fish, kettle's bored, which is a good sign. I've had 9 fish, over 40 pound the biggest one. I'm not complaining. I've still got 3 nights to go, but there is a 50 in it, and I would like to be driving back home with that 50 in my net, and I'm going to do everything in my power to try and catch it. So that's the plan of attack as we move into the evening. Other than that, not really a lot to report. I'm going to have a pot noodle for tea tonight because I've run out of food, so I'm going to have to go down the shop tomorrow. That's another thing in it, when you're bored, you just eat all the time. And I don't want to be eating all the time because I'm trying to lose a bit of timber. So, yeah, not catching or not doing anything with a strong wind hasn't helped my diet at all. But there we go. We move on. I'm going to have a coffee, reevaluate the situation. Hopefully next time I see you, I'm holding up a carp. Well, I'm laying in bed with the ump. I've waited 24 hours for my next bite, and I bloody lost it, didn't I? Oh, it's so frustrating. They were showing last night quite a lot, and the rod that's been the banker rod, true to form, went this morning, picked into it, got it away from the snag, coming across the middle of the lake. Didn't feel a massive fish. It was quite scatty, head going all over the place, and just pulled again. But it's one of them, isn't it? You know, that's 9 bites, 9 fish landed now, 2 fish lost. So it is what it is. You know, when you're fishing in and around snags, excuse me, if I was fishing closer to the snags, I'd have probably hooked 15 or 16, but I reckon I would have lost over half of them, which is why it's one of the rules here that you're not allowed to do it. So by fishing just away from the snags, A, it gives me enough time to get to the rod. B, it means that I can get them away safely. And if the hook comes out on the way in, there's not really a lot I can do about that, is there? You know, there's no guarantee that that hook's going to stay in the fish's mouth the whole way in. I re-dropped a couple of rods last night, just after dark when the wind calmed down, into an area where I'd seen a few fish, and the sun's just started beating on that area now. So I'm laying in bed. The rod that I lost the fish on, I've not put it back out yet. I'm going to try something a bit different. When I've had fish on it every other morning, I've gone straight back out and dropped it down. I'm going to leave it a couple of hours, and then I'm going to reposition it. But yeah, the trip's coming to an end. I've got one more night left now, but I am downbeat because I hate losing fish. If I can catch one more fish before I go home, I'm going to be really, really happy. Not that I'm not already, but it's always nice to end on a high, isn't it? And one thing that I would say is that this time of year, the weather can switch these fish on and off like a light. You know, when I first got here, I'd get a couple of bites one morning, a couple of bites in the evening, the odd bite through the night. But as that sort of wind got colder, there's been hatches going off, and it's just typical spring fishing. You know, you're fishing for such small windows of opportunity, and I'm hoping for the next sort of today and tomorrow that it's going to warm right up, and it might push the fish right up against sort of the margins where there's no snag, so to speak, and they sort of use it as a bit of a rat run to warm themselves up. And hopefully if I can lay a few traps down there, I might be able to nick a couple more bites before I go. But it's been an amazing trip. I've just woken up by an alarm, just lost one, which is probably why I sound a little bit downbeat, but believe me, I'm not downbeat, because there's a lot worse things going on in the world than someone losing a carp. But it would have just been nice after waiting 24 hours to have landed another CarpArena carp. But anyway, there we go. I'm gonna have another hour's sleep, wait for this sun to fully come up, reset and go again. I've just actually realised that I've not taken you out in the boat a great deal yet. More so because I'm not very confident, so I don't want one hand on the motor and then one hand on wrong way like that, one hand on the camera. So yeah, I've not been very confident in the boat, but I'm still being chewed up after losing that fish. But I'm going to take you back out on the boat now and try my best to show you where I've been getting the bites from, up against a certain tree. I'm just going to go and have a little ghost over my other spots as well, just to have a little look. This is the only one of my rods that's near any form of structure. The others are they're up against the margin, but they're not near anything. They're just flat bank where they're taking so many of the snags out. So those rods are perfectly safe. And to be honest with you, when you're fishing on your own anyway, and you're using a boat, there's not really a great deal you can do, but apart from just be as quick as what you possibly can. So I'm just scooting out in now. I'm going to hopefully show you as best as I possibly can. I've got my rod. Trying a different approach today. I'm trying a double bit of plastic sweet corn just to see if that makes a difference. A little bit more inconspicuous than a pop-up, but we'll give it a go. Right, I'm going to spin it off, turn it off, sorry, and then we're going to go out to the spot where I've been getting the bites from. Right, so just arrived. Oh, let me manoeuvre myself about. Just arrived at the snag where I've been getting the bites from. I just want to show you what I've been doing. So the snag's this side. My boat goes parallel along the side of the snag, and I drop my bait off the right hand side here. So I'm about 6 feet off the snag, and what I can do is I can drop that in there over my right shoulder or over my right hand side, drop it down, back out the way, spin the boat around, back to the swim. And that's how far off the snag I'm fishing. So I'm a good 6 feet off the snag there. That's the width of the boat plus a little bit more. Like I say, that's enough time to safely get them away without causing them any danger. And like I say, it's one of the rules here that you're not allowed to fish directly into the snags. And as tempting as it can be when you're seeing all the fish inside them, it's not the done thing to do. So I've potentially, like I say, could have had a lot more fish this week, but I'd rather hook and land them safely than stuff a load in the trees. That's just not good angling at all. So I'm going to chuck some bait off the side now, lower this rig down. Didn't see any other fish on my other spots as I ghosted through, so I'm going to quickly whip those in, re-drop them, ready for when this sun beats on that margin and hopefully brings the carp along with it. Okay, so bait for the trip is very simple. We've got 4 buckets lined up here. You have to purchase your particle from the guys here at CarpArena. That is some really nice freshly cooked maize. You can also use sweet corn as well, but for some reason these European carp seem to love maize. It's amazing. In here we've got some hemp, again supplied by the guys here, and then what I've done is I've got 2 buckets of my chosen boiler. I've got manila and I've got krill, and what I've done is I've put this on soak the night before I come out here. See, I've got a mixture of 12s and 16s there, and we're a couple of days in now, and it's clear that manila is a firm favourite. I've had 1 bite on the krill. That's not to say that the bait's not bad, because trust me, it isn't bad, but the bait is fantastic. But it always pays to bring a mixture of baits when you're coming, especially this time of year, you know, when the fish are on the cusp of wanting a fish meal, but at the same time the water's still cold, and a more sort of nutty milk protein based bait. I'm not an expert when it comes to bait. It's a lot more digestible and it's a lot more appealing to the carp. If I'd have persevered with the krill a lot more, probably would have caught more carp on it, but the first 3 bites I had, 2 of it was on manila, sorry, the first 4 bites I had, 3 was on manila, 1 was on krill, and that was enough for me to sort of switch it up. But I have been trickling a bit of krill in the bucket as well, and I've been going out and dropping the rigs just to keep it going in. But yeah, I've washed these out like I always do, and I'm putting these out in halves because where I'm fishing is on a shelf, and I want these halves to sit on that shelf and not roll away. But I think by washing them out just gives you that little bit of a head start maybe on the other guys that could potentially be on the lake throughout the course of the week. You know, there's a lot of people leaving, all their bait's going in, and you're turning up with a load of new bait, and sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get the ball rolling. So I've got manila in there with the matching cloudy liquid, and in there I've got my 16mm krill and a few 12s at the bottom. Again, I've used bottled water this time rather than tap water. The reason why, because I'm coming abroad, I know there's a minuscule risk of any cross-contamination, but I don't want to be bringing any tap water from abroad and putting it in my baits. I'd rather just play it safe and just use bottled water. So there you go, that's all I'm using for this trip. Got krill, got manila, got some hemp, and we've got some amazing. Well, like I say, I never get downbeat. It's annoying when you lose a fish, not gonna lie, but I've redone the rod that I lost the fish on, and also redone all of the other rods as well, which is something that I've not done on this trip so far. I've sort of left them till around midday, 1 o'clock, and redone all the rods randomly out of nowhere. A rod that I've not had a bite on yet, just busted off, and I've got myself a really nice rosemere common in the net. So that's redemption from this morning, which has made me really, really happy. One of the other lads has come past who's fishing on clover. He's also had a couple of fish this morning as well. I spoke to him throughout the course of the week, just said to him, sit patient, sit tight, it'll happen. And like I say, that's something that can happen a lot on these holiday venues. You know, you can chop and change, move around, basically just chase your own tail all week. Whereas I like to stay with what I'm doing. I know that I'm confident in what I'm using. That brings me up to double figures now, which is more than I could have ever expected for a week. I know there's been lads out here the week before me. One of the guys in particular, I think he had about 14 fish. But it was a full lake then, and it was the first sort of warm weather. This is not me making any excuses, but if I could come out here on my own, catch myself 10 to a dozen carp with a 40-pounder, that was more than I could have ever asked for when I arrived here on Saturday. And that fish there takes me into double figures, so more than happy with that. Let's get him out, we'll have a little look, go through the old protocol, and I'll show you what a carp looks like, because it seems to me, well, it is to me, been like a long time since I've last picked one up for the cameras. Well over 24 hours anyway. So yeah, let's have a little look at him. Well, here he is then. I get so excited when I catch a carp, I just love it. 25 pounds of immaculate, scale perfect, I'm describing it like an M&S advert, you know, rosemere common, but it really is a stunning fish. I've seen a couple of commons up in and around the snag where I've just had this bite from, and it makes me wonder if it was one of them. Obviously, the fish that you're seeing, you probably are catching them. There we go. Come a little bit closer to address all of you lovely human beings. There we go. A lovely rosemere common carp. Still a bit lively. Fought like an absolute demon. Look at that. There we go. Bite number 11. No, bite number 12. Carp number 10. Absolutely glorious. Spinning around, we'll have a look at the other side. I know he's a common and they all look the same on both sides, but really is a lovely fish, this one. And like I say, fishing safely and effectively with tight lines in and around areas where you know they're going to try and get into. You've got to make sure that your angling is absolute paramount to keep these fish as safe as possible. And this one here, size 4 crank, not moving anywhere. I'm going to stop waffling, just going to let you admire that fish for a second. I'm going to get him back and seize the day. We're going to come out there, that's the plan. There he goes. Well, we're approaching the evening now, and it's been a quiet day. I wound in about 4 o'clock, went down the shops, had a shower, had a freshen up, and I've only got a night left, but had a little freshen up. And again, like I said before, sometimes getting away from the lake can make you come back and have a bit of a fresh thought, a fresh train of thought. Re-dropped all the rods, sat back down, cracked open an Orangina. Thought, you know what, it's a lovely evening. It's about 15, 18 degrees, no wind, nice and warm. I'm going to sit out, I'm going to study the water, I'm going to chill out. And I've had a bite from a new spot, and I've got myself a rather nice mirror carp in the net. So once I get all the gas out from the Orangina, I'm going to take it over onto the mat, weigh it up, and I'm going to show all of you lovely people it. But yeah, that now takes me to 12 fish, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 12 fish I've had now. I had another one that I had written down that I didn't show you because, again, it was caught at a ridiculous time of the night. So yes, I've had 12 now and lost 2 or 3, so 15 bites. So we're building up slowly. Better than I ever expected. If you haven't heard of CarpArena and you're considering having a trip abroad, I would highly, highly recommend checking it out. And I'm not just saying that because it's run by Corda and I'm sponsored by Corda. Really, it is a fantastic complex. It feels like fishing in England. It's an hour the other side of Calais, so you haven't got all the expense of fuel, the expense of tolls, extra day off work to get down here. You know, get to Calais, an hour the other side. So even if you've had to travel from, say, 4 or 5 hours from up north in the UK, you've only got an hour's driving to do this side. Lovely complex, feels very, very much like you're fishing at home in the UK. You can use boats, you can use bait boats, or you can cast. All of it is optional. You can fish how you want to fish. And I think for anglers that are not confident or not massively confident like myself in the use of a boat, this is a fantastic venue to come and practice, you know, because they're not big enough where the wind's going to blow you everywhere, but you can make a little bit of noise. The fish are still young, relatively naive, so you can make a little bit of noise, get your rigs out how you want them, sit back and you know you've got a chance. So I'm going to stop waffling on. I'm going to show you this carp. There we go. Oh, shimmying a bit. There we go. Another cracking Rosemere carp. How nice is that? Lovely. Here we go. There we go. Look at that. How nice is that? Proper Belgian carp, as the big carp brigade say. I think they hold them like this, don't they, when you catch them from Belgium? Like the old back's gone. Whew. Big carp, that. One last pan around at the awesome Rosemere. Well, it's a warm one here today, out in Belgium. Got the t-shirt on, got a full moon t-shirt on, limited edition, which is why I'm about to tell you why I've caught so many fish this morning. So I've got this t-shirt on, full moon, innit? You know what it's like. As soon as that moon, full moon, just start catching fish. But no, seriously, you know what it's like. Once you've been here a while, you get to work out sort of fish's patterns, fish's behaviour. And I've had 4. I've got 3 in nets now that I've literally had in the last sort of 45 minutes. And I've had bites off of all rods as well, which is really, really good news. Initially, I was only catching off of 1 spot, and I did have 1 on another spot, but this morning, all 3 of them have gone. So I've got 1 more morning left, which is tomorrow morning, and the rest of today. But I think that now takes me up to 16 fish. Yeah, 13, 14, 15 and 16. Yeah, 16 fish. So it's all coming to good. Okay, I'm losing my words on this vlog, ain't I? Must be something wrong with me. Yeah, so it's all coming good in the end. 16 fish, lost 3, 1 more bite to make it 20 bites in a week. I can drive home happy. But I'd have driven home happy if I'd have had 5 bites in a week. But you know what we're all like as anglers. If you catch 1, you want 2. If you catch 2, you want 4. And this morning, yeah, it seemed to have really sort of everything aligned and went to plan. But it is quite warm now. It's going to be 22, 23 today. So I've just re-dropped all 3 of them after that mad flurry of activity. And I'm going to get you these out now. I've kept 3 of them, because like I say, they're the ones that I've just had really quickly. And then the other one that I had was probably a common of around 18 to 20 pounds that I just slipped back, and that was just before first light. So let's have a little goose, shall we? Well, here's the second of the 4. The first one I'm going to show you. Proper cool looking carp this is. Oh, they're all really active, I'll give them that. It's like, the camera's not going to do it justice. Such a lovely fish, proper short, dumpy. Colours on it are exceptional. Look at that. How nice is that for a carp? Just under £22, but what a phenomenal looking fish that is. Made up with him. Right, old Mr. Discus, isn't he? Right, let's get the other 2 out. Here's the 3rd one. The one I put back, I reckon, was about the same size as this one. £18 of this one. I think I've been a little bit unlucky with size of fish. There's a lot of big fish in here. And, well, Sunplan pest controller. Not really, I still have 3 30s and a 40. There we go. 18 pounder. The best one of the 4. Another pristine 23 pound glorious rosemere common. Look at that. What a stunning carp. Each and every one of the fish that I've had have been absolutely beautiful. Really, really good condition. When you look inside their gills and look at their gill rakers, blood red. Very, very sign, well, that is a sign of a very, very healthy carp. All fighting fit. He's going to flip her a bit. And one thing that I've come to learn, they love the bait in here. So in no time, this lake is going to have untold amounts of big carp in. Like I say, we've got a night to go. I want to get a few things packed away today so I can make an early departure tomorrow. I've not got a lot to do tomorrow, but hopefully there's still time for a couple more. But there you go. A cracking rosemere, £23 common. That's what carp fishing's all about, isn't it? So here we are then, the final evening. Today's just flown by really. Nothing's actually happened at all. It's got really warm today, haven't seen anything show. Had a little cruise around in the boat whilst the bailiff was here. See the odd fish in the snags, but nowhere near as much as what that has been throughout the course of the week. Makes me sort of wonder if I've fished out all of the areas and give the fish a reason not to be there. Which, if that's the case, is quite a good thing, because it means that I've made the most of the water that's in front of me. Literally just here now, you can see I've got the barrow there. Just got me a bed. I'm going to sleep under the stars tonight. Nice and warm, it's been about 20, 22 degrees today. Just been up to the clubhouse, got myself a couple of Twix and a Marzi bar. Put my head torch on because everything's run out of charge now. Power pack's run out of charge. My boat battery's run out of charge. I've run out of charge as well, to be honest with you. It's been an amazing trip. Still got tonight and a little bit of tomorrow morning, but not a lot of tomorrow. And to be fair, by the time I've got to get away, it's right on bite time, so I'm probably going to miss that opportunity. But where one of my rods is, I have seen the big one there a couple of times, and it's sort of like last gasp really by doing this tonight. I would have packed up today, just because obviously I've got an hour back to Calais, but it's a long way back the other side. So yeah, we're just going to see how it goes tonight, and hopefully I've got one more carp to show you. Last night could be my last bite, and I bloody lost it. It was on the right rod? No, it wasn't. It was on the middle rod. It was on the banker rod that's done majority of the bites, that's not done a single bite through the hours of darkness. That side of the snag hasn't anyway. Decided to go. It was kiting around all over the place, and it literally touched my other line for a millisecond, and it was almost like the other line disgorged the hook. Well, and to make matters even worse, I don't know if you can see down there, but the boat has run out of battery. That white thing there is where the outboard should go. And because I like to put the effort in, I've just rowed it all the way back up to the top end of the lake, which is probably about 180 yards away. And a man of my fitness calibre wasn't very easy. Because obviously with a motor where you've got the motor on, you can use one hand to control the motor and one hand to bring the rod back. And obviously when you've got to use your oars, the rod was between my legs and it was just peeling line from where the bail arm was open, and subsequently I paid out about 350 yards of line, so it's taken me about the last half an hour to mend it. But we're mended, we're back in position, the 3 rods are rocking, uno, dos, tres, and it is just before midnight, so we've got about 7 hours of fishing left. Is there time for one more? Just thought, actually, this is the first bit of filming I've done in the night time since I've been here. But yeah, I've had a hook pull. Not happy. Well, I don't quite know what to say, but I am finishing this trip bar with a quiff like an old cockatiel on the biggest high possible. Now, all the time I've been here, I've had 2 bites through the hours of darkness. 2. Last night, the night that I could have really done with getting some sleep before the long drive back home in England today, I've had 4. I've got 3 nets, or 2 nets, a net, and a retainer. And you're going to think I've scripted this, but you know I said I had a rod where I'd seen what I thought was the big un, or a big un. I've only got a big un. I don't know what one it is. I don't know if it might be the big un. I had it about an hour ago, just before first light, and I was waiting for Matthias to come in the bailiff so he can get some good photographs, and I've sort of bundled it into a retainer, not taken it out of the water, and just got it out into deep water so it can just relax for a bit. I don't even know what to say. It saves me winding the rods in, I suppose, doesn't it? But it looks like we are ending this trip on one massive high. Oh, and just one other thing. The fish that's in this net, I'm going to turn you around this so you can see it. The fish that's in this net is a ghostie, and I've been seeing him all week in the snags. And now he's mine. Here we go, Rosemary for one final time. The sun's just about to start rising, but look how beautiful that is. Here he goes. This one, can't believe it. I said I've been seeing a big one underneath the tree. It's not the big one, but it's still a 45 pounder. Look at this for a carp. Look at that. Proper rosemary unit. Calm down. It's so lively. Let him know who's boss. Come on. Look at that. What a carp. How about that? Well, I say to round the trip off, I've still got 2 more to show you. 45 pound, new Belgian PB. Rosemary, it's been a pleasure. Yes, lovely. Well, I've decided to put one of them back because time is of the essence now. I've had a ghostie, and it's another 30 pounder. Look at that. How pretty is that? In fact, I'd go as far to say this is probably my biggest ghost mirror. Look at that, just over 30 pound. What a way to end this trip. 4 bites last night, 4 more fish, ending with 21 fish hooked. 25 fish hooked, sorry, 21 fish landed. That is not bad for a week's fishing. Well, that is it. That is me departing from the amazing CarpArena complex. I cannot speak highly enough of this complex, of the venue that I've just fished Rosemere, and I'm not just saying that because I get to fish the Calder waters. It has simply been a fantastic week's fishing. For someone like me that's not great with a boat, it's been nice to sort of have some reassurance, put some reassurance in my angling that I can use a boat and I can use it effectively. Don't get me wrong, made some mistakes throughout the course of the week, but as anglers, I'm sure we all make mistakes from time to time. It has been a phenomenal trip. I am definitely coming back, but there is just one more thing that I've got to do before this vlog is over. Meet me at the port. So that's it then, the end of my week at CarpArena. What an amazing venue it is. I know I've said it so many times throughout this video, but honestly, if you are looking to get away fishing in Europe, somewhere not too far from Calais, somewhere you can use a boat, you can cast, or you can use a bait boat, you're left alone. Matthias the bailiff is an absolute diamond of a guy, will help you out as much as you need. He's there when you need him throughout the course of the week, but he's not going to come and sit in your peg every hour of the day. He leaves you to enjoy your fishing. I did say there was one final thing that I was going to do before I love you and leave you all, and that is to spin you round, 1 second, to go onto the GoCatch app. And if you are a GoCatch Pro subscriber like myself, you can upload your catch reports. If I can do that through the thing. I've already started uploading from this week. Now that, it always cracks me up this. So this fish here was caught on the waxing crescent, because everyone knows how much I love the moon. That was the temperature, that was the sunrise, and I've got my notes in here as well at the bottom. So if we click on view notes, it says there, you can see Manila 14mm pop up over 3 handfuls of 12 and 16mm washed out Manila. And if you're an angler like me that likes to document all of your catches, you've also got the blueprint, which I'm going to be adding more blueprint to this, which I will be able to share with you guys as well, of where I fished at CarpArena. Not only that as well, if you do like to book your fishing, obviously GoCatch is the place to go. And as well, you have book a venue, my baiting mixes, sessions, blueprints, catches, and you've also got down here rewards. And again, if you're like me and you like to save yourself a little bit of money every now and again, on the rewards page there are so many discount codes that you can use right across the board, whatever discipline of fishing that you do. Plenty on there for carp fishing as well. That's all I'm going to say. Once again, massive thank you to each and every one of you that have tuned in. A bit zoomed in there. Massive thank you to each and every one of you that have tuned in. If you're looking for somewhere to go fishing in Europe, I highly recommend checking out CarpArena. Once again, a massive thank you to our channel sponsors, GoCatch. Brad, you've now got the memory card. You've got to edit it. Big love, everyone. I'll see you soon.